What is up, guys? Welcome in. My name is Nick and welcome to the channel. You join me today not on a racetrack as such. We are going to be doing something slightly different in this one. This is going to be more of a talking heads without an actual talking head type video, basically. What I feel will be useful, or what the video I feel like making, it's probably a better way of putting it, is just something that takes stock of where Forza is right now and where I hope it is going to head over 2024 is probably the best way to put it. It's not going to be looking back and complaining about anything in Forza's past, because that's in the past. That's either been fixed or isn't fixed. We'll talk about stuff that isn't fixed, but I'm not going to be just complaining about the game. Basically, there's enough videos complaining about the game on YouTube if you want to find that kind of level of reinforcement for your own opinions. There's plenty of content out there. I'm going to look to try and be a bit more positive in this one, but I will still be trying to lean this towards facts more than anything else. Obviously, it will be opinions in this video. It's YouTube. This is a largely opinion-based media, but I hope you will see the basis that I'm coming from is not one of just blind hope. And this will be mostly multiplayer focused. I'm a mostly multiplayer focused player. I will be talking about single player, but it's not really, I don't think, is a big part of most people's enjoyment in Forza. I think it is, historically at least, has been a mostly multiplayer focused game generally. Obviously there are still single player enjoyers and there should be content for those kinds of people, but I'm a multiplayer enjoyer and that's where my focus will be in this video. This is also not going to be scripted. I've got talking points. I'll try my best to stick to them and not ramble too much, but apologies if this does just become a rambling mess. You have been warned here at the 2-minute mark. So first of all, talking single player, let's have a quick run through of that. So single player in Forza currently is, I mean, it sucks, basically. I have done, I believe, 2 series up until this point in the game. One was the first series you did when you joined the game. The one I farmed out to get the Acura LMP car. Then I realised that I don't care, basically. I have not gone back to it at all. It's not for me. The bits I've done were kind of meh. To me, racing against AI is not enjoyable. It's just not for me, basically. As I said, I'm a multiplayer focused person, but yeah, the single player should be better than what it is. It kind of feels like just something to tick the box. We've got single player, people who can race against offline. Yeah, all right, cool. Right, let's move on. Yeah, not much to talk about that, at least from me. If you're more of a single player focused person, there's probably other people out there who can give you a bit more information than I can, but yeah, to me it kind of sucks and I don't really see myself going back to it at any point. So for the multiplayer side of Forza, clearly this is the part that they have spent the most amount of time on in terms of development for the original game and where the focus of the game currently still is. Obviously, you do have the Spotlight series in single player. I don't know how popular that is, but obviously we have the weekly rotating spec series. We've got the 2 fixed spec series. We've got the rotating build your own stuff and the rotating customizable spec series kind of thing. What they've got is good. I think it could be improved, but what they've got is good. Obviously, the GT and the touring car lobbies are, in my opinion, the best part of the game. I think for most people, they're probably the best part of the game. There are some balancing issues still in there, really, but the GT and the TC classes are generally the most people's go-to in this game. That sort of seems where they're building the game around. Spec series, some of the options they've put up this year have been kind of hit or miss for me personally. A lot of the ones aren't the ones I'm particularly interested in. I've dabbled with it a little bit, but I just wasn't getting on with their selections. Like the P2 class cars, not really one for me. I don't think Forza really handles the higher spec cars too well. It's a bit too slidey, and obviously this was during the time of the aero wash bug glitch kind of programming thing, so I dabbled with it a little bit off camera, but it wasn't really anything that was going to take a lot of my time up. Some of the selections, like the BRZ, I think should have been in an open series for modification, and I thought the Mazda they put in the open one should have been in the fixed. It seems a bit of a weird way around to put for me, to be honest, considering the BRZ fixed is both slow and understeery, and just the lobby quality was kind of meh. It was just, not one for me. The 311 as well was a really weird car. Just the one they put in a couple of weeks ago. the Lotus 311. Really weird mix of oversteer, understeer, and having an S-Class car that is on stock tyres in a fixed series seems a very strange thing to me. It's just asking for bad driving standards, basically. And yeah, having jumped into Hot Circuit's stream, watching him very much struggle was a bit enjoyable for me, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, watching him struggle with that car with both oversteer and understeer, jumping on and having a look at the numbers that could be tuned, I'm like, oh god, there's no real easy way to fix this. Yeah, the suspension was fixed. You can only really play with tyre pressures. The differential was fixed. Yeah, it was not a good car, I think, to have in a spec series. I think if you're going to have it as a locked spec series, you need to have it in a spec where you can fine tune the car. I know part of the fun is trying to override it and overcome that sort of stuff, but you know, the better ones for me were things like the Le Mans sports car that I had loads of fun with the E-Type. Four-wheel drifting that thing around Spa at night was fantastic. Stuff like, I know I didn't record any videos on it, but I did a few of the classic Formula 1 cars from like the 50s, whatever it was. Yeah, that was great fun because again, you can go and you can attune the suspension rates, the dampenings, the tyre pressures, the diff, and all that sort of stuff. So you can fine tune the car to your handling, which just takes out one element of the learning curve and just means that you can get better quality racing, I feel personally. Yeah, this is all personal opinion. If I'm wrong, tell me I'm wrong, but this is just the way I feel when it comes to, I like being able to go in and fiddle with all the numbers because I don't want to have to drive around a car's problem while trying to be competitive and trying to avoid people crashing into me, basically. So, but yeah, it's I've not done too much by way of the open lobbies, mostly because of the car leveling system is kind of bad. I have a few cars in my garage that I have earmarked for rivals and open lobbies, but god damn, it takes a long time just to get, not even to unlock the unlocks that you want. Like for me, obviously the number one unlock being the slick tires. There's just such a massive difference. Just getting slicks, but it costs so many goddamn points. Just give me money. Like Forza is all about, they're trying to make it so you become one with the car. That's not really the way Forza has ever been. It's always been about the right tool for the right job, and what I don't want to do is spend 4 weeks getting to know my tool before I can figure out if it's the right one. That seems to be the way it is. Like when you put this much of a barrier of entry in terms of time sink into building up the car, leveling it, unlocking the things, all you end up doing is forcing a meta where you look at the rivals leaderboard, see which cars are at the top, and everyone builds those. There's my favourite part of Forza 4, I think it was looking at what the meta cars were and going, all right, cool. What can I build that might beat that? Like, what are some weird things I can throw out? Like, going up in the S classes, everyone was using, back in the day, I think it was a Nissan Silvia S15 or something like that. And I'm like, you know what? I want to build a 355. I'm just going to see if I can beat that, because the Ferrari 355 is one of my favourite cars, and the 250 GTO, if I remember right. No, not the 250. The one that kind of looks like Tesla, so I'm blanking on the name of it right now. But yeah, that GTO, I always pick that one. It's really lightweight, really fun to drive, really responsive, good chassis on it. And I could get that thing to be pretty goddamn competitive against a very heavy meta lobby. And that's part of the fun of it. Is I like using counterculture. Counterculture. I like being against the grain in terms of sort of anti-meta stuff. I'm like, all right, you're all using that, cool. What can I do to beat you in something else? I like to stand out. I like to make my life difficult, basically. But yeah, I think this leveling system kind of goes against that, and hopefully they will just, I mean, to be honest, I don't want to say get rid of it, because I think you should have a car leveling system, but just let me just unlock all the mods and let me buy it with money. Like, I don't want this separate currency that I have to farm, and I have to get a certain amount of levels up to get enough currency to buy the upgrades that I want. It's just kind of annoying. For someone like me, I work 50 hours a day. 50 hours a day? Let me try again. I work 50 hours a week and then spend about 20 hours a week making content. My racing is like the third lowest thing. It's working, making videos of the racing, and then the actual racing is like third on the list when it comes to time spent during the week. And I just don't have the time to farm out all this crap, and I don't want to do the whole boring thing of set the game up to autoplay for me to unlock everything. That's kind of like a cheese way of doing it. So yeah, it just feels like it's not official time sync to make the game longer, at least for me with my time. That's how I have to spend it and what I do with it. So yeah, anyway, I'll stop ranting about that now. But yeah, well, I mean, this sort of leads me into the next point of things I think need to be looked at going into 2024, basically. Obviously, the main one for me is fix the goddamn replays. It is so infuriating to me as a content creator that I can't download a replay and just look at other people's races and find out why am I driving past a wreck of 3 cars coming out of this turn. What happened? I want to have a look at it. I want to investigate it. Mostly because I can think of a few content videos of like how to improve this, how you could have avoided an incident like this, but also just to give you more context in the race and going, why did I just make up 4 positions for someone who was off in the outside of bus stop at Watkins Glen? And you can go back and go, oh, okay, this guy just decided to dive in with no brakes and took everyone out. All right, cool. Well, there you go. That's a bit more context. And it just gives me more stuff to play with, and I can get more fun for camera angles, so you're not just sat in the cockpit view with me. Yeah, it's fix your goddamn replays. All right. That's my number one thing for 2024. Let me view an online replay that works. I've already gone through the car leveling stuff. Yeah, that was kind of another thing with me. The penalty system is still very hit or miss. If you'd seen my touring car video where around Hakone, where I kind of lost position for some what I felt was a kind of bullshit penalty over not overtaking a guy on the outside. It is better than it was. Still needs a bit more improvement though, in my opinion. The other bit is for the spec series, I think more active balancing, both nerfs and buffs for various cars to give more of a spread in terms of the field. Like, it's not bad. There are worse games that I have played where you just have to be in the right car, otherwise you're last. Like the Audi RS3 in touring cars is stronger than most, but not enough where it can't be beaten. I think it flatters an average driver and becomes very difficult to beat a good driver when they're in it. But Forza is usually pretty good. If you are a good driver, it's kind of frowned upon to go into the meme meta car, kind of. But again, there are some where I see that, like, okay, you're clearly part of a fast racing team and you're in the Audi. That's kind of a bit cheese, but yeah. You know, some people just need to win. I would like to win. I don't need to win. I'm happy as long as I have a good race, basically. And yeah, the same goes for the R8. The R8 is a bit more of a pig to drive than most of the other ones, but there is obviously that trade-off of it just being a fair bit quicker than most other GT cars. So I just think that things like the Lavorg needs a little bit of a straight line boost. I think the Astra needs something looking at it. The Golf is now kind of dead after being so utterly broken. It's now broken in the other sense. Yeah, I think there's not much. They are pretty close. They do trade off pretty well depending on the circuit. Obviously there are things like Maple Valley where the Lincoln Co is just really strong. All in all, the balancing isn't terrible, but I think they could be a little bit more active in terms of tweaking the PIs to make them a bit more even across the board, I think. So, but yeah, in summary, I think Forza's in a great place. It's definitely better than it was on launch. It was a bit of a buggy mess, but yeah, that's all water under the bridge. That's all done. Obviously, some bugs still hanging around. I don't know if the Wednesday bug for the resets is still in, but yeah, that was a pain when it was still happening a few weeks ago. And obviously the replays, and I know some people are still getting things like disappearing tracks, disappearing assets, and stuff like that. So definitely not perfect, but there are at least signs that they are regularly updating the game. We've already had 3 major updates since it launched, so that's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think there's anything major that needs to be added. I think maybe, tweaking the car leveling system to open up the open lobby attractiveness to other people might be a bit better, and to people like me who are a bit short on time. But as I say, the main thing is they are looking at it regularly. They are providing regular updates, and even Forza Horizon 5 is still getting content updates and stuff like that. So there is good signs that that Turn 10 are still looking and paying attention to this game. I know it probably doesn't feel like it when you have to go like 6 to 8 weeks between patches, but I don't know which I prefer, a small amount or regular small patches or big content patches. But then there's a lot more of the technical back end stuff that needs to be known before you can. Some systems just aren't set up for small updates regularly. Some of them you have to push big updates just because that's how their update cycle works. So anyway, I'm rambling at this point. Basically I am still enjoying Forza. It's still taking a lot of my time. There are a few bits that can be improved, but all in all, I think the future is pretty bright for the game as it stands. Obviously, if you disagree with me, do let me know in the comments below. If you want to have a look at my most recent content, here is the touring car video I was talking about recently, where unfortunately we did have our first knockback in terms of rating for our progression to 5k rating. But thank you very much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one. Cheers.